Stay tuned and let's take a look at this Marvel Legends Secret Wars Wolverine. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember now, you can hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are kicking off a very special wave of Marvel Legends. It is, of course, the Marvel Legends Secret Wars wave, and we are starting with brown costume Wolverine. Now, why is it special, I hear you ask? Well, 40 years ago in 1984, Mattel and Marvel came together to collaborate to make an action figure line with an accompanying tie-in 12-issue comic entitled Secret Wars, where we've seen some of the most popular good guys and bad guys battle on a galaxy far, far away. And I actually have the original Wolverine right here. Shout out to Displayed Once, who obviously got hold of this so I could do a review. The line isn't due until December in the UK, but it is starting to hit Canada and the US now. But yeah, this is a beautiful tribute to this original Mattel toy line, the very first Marvel action figures, if you will. And Hasbro have yet again done a great job recreating that original card back. So yeah, this is going to hold a special place in the collection for what it represents. We have came a long way since then. Marvel themselves have willed this line into existence, as for a while they've been doing like these variant comic covers, and this is the Wolverine version. So as I said, Wolverine looking very nice in the brown costume. We're going to be able to fit this in multiple places in the display. The card itself, for those curious, is the same thickness and height as the Iron Man cards we have recently got. So if you're thinking about buying some protective cases to keep these nice and mint, then yeah, you're going to need the bigger style cards. And the last time we got brown suited Wolverine on this card or card back was in the grey Avengers cards. So again, even in like half a decade, we have come a long way with the digital face printing tech and the pinless joints. Honestly, it is a vast contrast between just these two figures of the modern Hasbro era. But this is a beautiful tribute, and you know I'm a sucker for nostalgia. When I was growing up, obviously I was born in the 80s, so I was finding these Secret Wars figures at like car boot sales, I remember. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this line. A great jumping on point for many Marvel fans, as it does include a lot of the popular characters, but I'm not mad at it. We get the Lenticular shield, the 40th anniversary of Secret Wars down here as well, that you could also put into the little shield. Still get interchangeable heads as well as the claws, which are a nice improvement. But yeah, simple design, but it makes all the difference. On the back of the box, we get that cross sale with the other figures in this wave that I hopefully will get hold of very, very soon. Also some instructions to how to swap out that Lenticular shield. And of course, as always, we get a write-up for Wolverine that says, on a patchwork battleground, Wolverine fights a raging war alongside the X-Men, but is wary of forging alliances outside his trusted fellow mutants. Honestly, if you have not read Secret Wars, I genuinely encourage you to do so. The events of Secret Wars still ripple in modern day Marvel today, and now we have some nice updated action figures to represent that. Let's get him open. Here we have Wolverine out of the packaging with everything he comes packed with, including the unmasked Logan head, some interchangeable fisted hands, and then we get that tribute Lenticular shield, which is of course a nod to the original toy line that also included these Lenticular shields. When then we get that interchangeable sort of 40th anniversary logo that you can put into the shield. So of course we're going to take a closer look and do lots of comparisons, but the first comparison I want to do has to be, of course, with the original Secret Wars Wolverine, the very first Wolverine action figure versus the most recent Wolverine action figure in 2024. 40 years apart. This is how far we have come. We say it all the time, we are in a golden age for action figures. I think we absolutely still are, as the people that are our age, which are all nostalgic, are now the people that are making decisions at these companies, and they are definitely definitely fueling that nostalgia with releases like this. So I've even got the original Lenticular shields as well. So there you go. That one had an unmasked Logan and then a Wolverine similar to this one. So yeah, 40 years apart here. This figure is representing history. The first Marvel toy line has now been recreated for the modern day, paying tribute, and I genuinely think people are going to need to buy double of these just to hold on to them for what they represent. But I'm a sucker for a retro card. As I said, I was born in the 80s, so these are definitely familiar to me. But yeah, that had to be the first comparison. But let's take a closer look at this new Wolverine. Taking a closer look at the head sculpt, I quite like the smirky, cocky expression we have on Wolverine. You've got some 5 o'clock shadow there as well, the whited out eyes, and a nice little dimple in the middle of his chin as well. Honestly, it's a very nice head sculpt there with the little smirk and the wrinkles in the chin. The cowl itself is very nice with the longer black cowl as well against the yellow mask. And again, that covers the tip of the nose, and then all the way around you can see there. Very, very nice. That is our mind's eye of Wolverine, and I don't mind the expression at all. But we do have an interchangeable unmasked head option. Now, I always like the way that Logan's hair sort of mimics his cowl as well, with the black sort of points on either side. Slightly angrier expression on this one, not as smirky, but he is in a frowny mood. But again, the digital face printing tech is really nice on this. Lots of details in the eyes and different shades hitting those wrinkles on his face. And yeah, you got the big sideburns and his ears, and yeah, his hair coming around the back as well, sticking out into those points. So you have options for your Wolverine. Of course, you can go cowl on or keep the unmasked Logan head. Let's keep that cowl on just to take a closer look at the rest of the body. But we have seen this before. It is essentially a straight up repaint of the X-Men 97 Wolverine, just without the shoulder pads that were attached to the top of the shoulder, and you've got a different bout. Otherwise, from the boots all the way up and around, it is essentially a repaint of the X-Men 97 completely pinless body, which is not a bad thing at all. That was probably the best Marvel Legends Wolverine we had gotten. So this is just a brown suit repaint of that. You have the hair on the arms and the better claws as well. Double jointed, pinless elbows, which is always good to see. I do like how they paint in the hairs, very black. They definitely stand out. You've got the deep butterfly joint there as well. So if you lift the shoulders up, you will get a decent range going back and forward for Wolverine, which is good to see. He's got stumpier arms, but you can get the double elbow out of it. And then the gloves themselves are like sculpted to the edge of the gloves. And then you've got these much better claws. Now, for ages, we've had those terrible claws, but these are nice and sturdy. They stay in position. They don't warp or lose their shape. So I really do prefer these claws on our Wolverine figures. Let's keep them like this, please. Down to the bout. Again, no X logo here. It's just a traditional bout with a gold trim. You do get the swivel underneath that as well, so you can lift that up to utilize the swivel, of course, and then you've still got the crunch in the abs, which will go forward and back a fair amount, so I'm not mad about that at all. Moving down the legs, his legs go pretty far forward. That's at least a 90, right? And you get the double jointed pinless knees, and then you do get a little bit of boot swivel hidden within the design and sculpt of the boots, as well as ankle pivot and rocker, of course. So yeah, these legs go out pretty far. Oh, they look at that. You can do like a super kick. So yeah, honestly, it has a great range for a Wolverine. This is definitely the best base body we currently have for our Wolverine. So I don't mind seeing this repainted again for maybe like an X-Force Wolverine or any other bodies that don't really have any sculpted texture on the costume. As you can see, this is just completely flat. It's just the paint that is the difference. Now for me, my mind's eye of the brown suit Wolverine would probably be a little bit darker of a brown. However, the original actual Secret Wars comics, he was a little bit lighter with the brown shade. So this is accurate from the source material. Just I probably would have preferred it to be a darker brown if it was up to me. But of course, we have our options out there. There have been a few brown suited Wolverines previously, but I don't think anyone can challenge this isn't the best one. So as I said, I've put the clawed hands of him straight away, but we did also get a set of retracted claw fisted hands. So yeah, you have your options for Wolverine, but indisputably this one is nice. And then, as you've seen, the only other accessory apart from the head and hands is this tribute lenticular shield, which is of course a callback to the original accessory that came in that first toy line. So again, you've got Logan and Wolverine there, and then you get that same effect here with the new one. Unmasked Logan, Wolverine. Unmasked Logan, Wolverine. The scale's obviously a little bit bigger now because we're dealing with 6-inch Marvel Legends, not the sort of smaller 4-inch, but still, it's there to represent the original toy line, and I'm not mad at it at all. On the back, you get a clip and pin system similar to Captain America shields. I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I always feel very scared plugging it onto a wrist, but let's try that here with Wolverine. So if you wanted to pose up Wolverine on the shelf with the shield in hand, you could absolutely do that, and they will all look good on a single light display with their shields holding, especially if you've got the original cards you can stand them in front of. But you do get that one extra interchangeable card for it to celebrate the 40 years. So you very simply just open this like so, take out that, and there's 4 rivets in there that you sort of line up the card to like so. Then it will close up nicely, and then yeah, you can pose this up however you wish. I've got it upside down, but you get the point. It doesn't matter how many times I pose these together, it is still very cool to see it. As I said, 40 years apart, this is history. It's about what this wave represents. So yeah, this one, unfortunately, you couldn't sort of pose it with the shield facing forward due to the limited 5 points of articulation, but I'm impressed it stands up on its own after all this time, but it won't do it for me now after I've just praised it. There you go, you're okay. Let me get the tape measure out so you can see the original toy line was about 4.5 inches actually to the top of his cowl, and then to the top of the Marvel Legend, you're probably looking at bang on 6 inches as well. Like I alluded to earlier, this new Secret Wars Wolverine is essentially a repaint of the new X-Men 97 Wolverine. Obviously, different head, no shoulder pads, and then a different belt. The upper shoulder joint piece is actually different as well, as if I smooth it to the side, you can see the previous Wolverine did have the sculpted hair on the arms, it just wasn't painted in, and also that top shoulder piece actually has the sculpted holes for the shoulder pad, plus the actual hair. This one does not. So yeah, that top shoulder joint is different, head's different, belt's different, but otherwise, honestly, all the way around, it is the same figure, just repainted. And if I remember correctly, doesn't Wolverine actually wear the brown suit at some point in the new X-Men 97 show? So maybe this unmasked sort of head and cowl could work on this for an X-Men 97 display. So of course the head pops on the body as it is the same body, but unfortunately the skin tones are a little bit different. The Secret Wars one is just a little bit pinker. Also the yellows are not an exact match for the cowl, but I think because there's enough separation between the 2 yellows, it's not too noticeable on a display if you wanted to have the cowl on your brown suited version. But again, if you put the Secret Wars head on the 97 figure, again, the skin tones are not quite right, so that one doesn't work as well. So yeah, I thought it'd be fun to try, but I don't think either of them work as intended. I just realised as well, I sold my Juggernaut Wolverine a good while ago when we got this one, but then I never opened this one to keep on card, so there's no point opening it now considering we have a much better brown suited Wolverine. So unfortunately, here's your comparison still in the packaging, but I don't think anybody out there is going to say that this version is better than this one. If you're after a brown suit Wolverine, even though I do prefer the darker shade of brown on here, this one is the clear winner. So apart from Juggernaut and the retro card version of Wolverine, here we have the other 2 brown costume variants that we have. We have the sort of beat up version that came in that Wolverine 5-pack, and then we had the Brood Wolverine that we got earlier this year. Both have the similar darker brown. This one, again, a little bit lighter. I can't even begin to take all of my Wolverines off my display. So before you come at me in the comments, this is just a few of the modern day Hasbro Marvel Legend Wolverines. There are lots more where this came from, and there are still more to come. Let me know your favorite Wolverine costume or Marvel Legend in the comments below, because we have a lot of good ones. And again, we've got more to go. What else do we need? And make sure, if you haven't already, you go and check out the Die Show Creations Wolverine head sculpts video on my channel, as these custom head sculpts are so good, and yes, they absolutely work on this Secret Wars body. Unfortunately, I do not have any other of the Secret Wars figures just yet. They have been delayed in the UK, so those pesky Americans will beat me to reviews again. I blame Canada, but here we have a couple of the characters that will feature in the wave, which are Captain America and Iron Man, and we are essentially just getting different versions of these designs. So this is how it's going to look. We are also about to get a brand new pinless black suit Wolverine, which did debut during that Secret Wars story, but here we have one of the older sort of pizza Spider-Man body versions, and then the Renew York Val Spider-Man. A lot of my comic X-Men figures are downstairs embedded in the display, so instead here we have some of the recent X-Men 97 figures, which I've already said this Wolverine can seamlessly fit into that line, as it is basically the same version of Wolverine with the brown suit. So yeah, these look great together. So let's wrap up with some of the Who crew. So here we have Frogman, Tigra and Hydra Bob. But then last and never least, Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. So, final thoughts on this Marvel Legends Secret Wars Wolverine, and I'm sure you can tell by now that I'm a fan of this line. Honestly, it's more than just nostalgia, it's about what this line represents. Arguably, without this line 40 years ago, would we have Marvel Legends today? So you have to tip your hat to Mattel and the history that it created, and yeah, it's nice to pay tribute with that in our modern day Marvel Legends line. And these are beautiful figures as well. The whole line is completely pinless with some A tier characters. As I said, a solid jumping on point for any Marvel Legends fan, that is for sure. And if you've not read Secret Wars, then please learn via the medium of action figures, and hopefully these encourage you to do so. As I said, still ripples felt throughout the 616 today, but you let me know what you think of this figure, of this line, in the comments below. Are you in on this brown suited Wolverine? Would you have preferred him to be a little bit darker as well? Or are you happy that he's a tribute to how he was originally portrayed in the source material? As I said, no right or wrong answers here, people. I'm just always curious to read your thoughts. And if you like Marvel Legends, then wow, you are in the right place. Check out the videos tab, find the playlists, but most importantly, please hit that subscribe button, hit all and the notification bell, don't miss out on a video, and please hit that join button, become a channel member, either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. I'm a fan of this, what can I say? You can follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter or X at Dan Who Reviews. My name is Dan W, and of course, see you on the next one.